Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Katie.
And this is the Reading Nook Magic Podcast.
Come hang out with us today as we talk about the second book of the Crowns of Naxia series, The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King by Carissa Broadbent.
Goodreads. So Goodreads for this one went down a little bit. 4.1 stars, 373,000 ratings, and 35,000 reviews. So it's a little below the other book, which for me is accurate.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Definitely. We kind of talked about that in the last episode. We definitely preferred the first book to this one. Overall, nothing I hated. Again, it just was a little slow. And I think similarly to a lot of love stories, the conflict between Raihn and Oraya just kind of dragged on a little bit longer than I feel like was necessary. Obviously, in this one, there's a really legitimate reason. It's not something stupid. He killed her father, but even...
It just was like...
yeah, it's like...
Every chapter, the whole first half of the book, I don't know.
It was really
hard.
the first...
It was hard to get through. I mean, to be totally honest, I did not finish the book.
Yeah.
I did not finish. I think it was like 3/4 of the way through. I don't know.
Yeah. I enjoyed the second half of the book more than the first half because the first half to me, again, was a little redundant. Every time that happens in a story, I just get a little frustrated.
Like, we get it. It's a big deal. Like, you killed her father. You took her throne. Like, you did all of these really bad things. But I guess there needs to be more of a storyline or something else just needs to be happening for it to be okay that they're not getting along. Like, she could keep hating him or whatever, but it was almost like she had rolled over and died in the first half of the book. And it was just on repeat. Like...
Right, which in terms of how the book starts of her being consumed with grief, it makes sense that she just laid over and died, right? That's one of the first stages of grief is just to like basically be comatose, essentially. That's actually really interesting. Here we go again. Because like, she maybe like the sense of revenge that he like to avenge her father, she might have obsessed over. I don't know how torn she would have been about the romantic aspect of their relationship because she was consumed with grief. Because, I mean, I know everyone experiences grief in a different way, but like for me, I feel like it can be all consuming. And she kind of made it seem like that's what it was. And I also know, again, I've shared before, like my husband died when I was younger, when I was 24. And I just like had intrusive thoughts for so long. And I was like, all right, someone died. It's valid, right? It's excruciating for everyone. There's my grief is worse than your grief, or I want to make that very clear. I really, truly believe everyone's grief is their own and there's no scale of importance. However, in terms of like intrusive thoughts and obsessive thinking, I read that complicated relationships after that person dies, like the intrusive thoughts and the grieving process becomes exponentially extended because you have to like make your peace with all this complexity within your relationship. You have to forgive them from lies and dishonesty. You have to try to understand that they're gone first and foremost. You have to make your peace with the fact that like you're devastated that they're gone, but you're also feeling like you hate them. Right. And so,
which that's what this was full of. That
was on point.
Yes. I feel like the way you just described was exactly what this book was in reference to Vincent.
Yes. Very good job of that.
And that was, and because he left her with so many unanswered questions. Yeah. I don't know. You just actually put that perfectly. I can't even.
I lived it. So it's not like anything like.
Yeah.
She says at one point, Vincent the king, who killed my whole family in the name of power, who would slaughter an entire race, who would lie to me for nearly 20 years about my blood to protect his crown, and Vincent the father, who kept his little makeshift trinket that I'd made him right there with all his most precious possessions, who had told me he loved me in his final breath. So like in the first book, we already know that she's borderline tortured by the nature of their relationship already.
Yeah.
Right? Does he love me? Does he not? Is he my dad? Is he not? Right? Now she has all the confirmation that he is, but also has been lied to her. It's like so complicated, actually. And even after he's gone and she's with Raihn, I still think Vincent is the most important person to her.
Well, how would
he not be?
How would I don't know that a lover ever replaces a parent or a father figure, right?
Well,
Like,
not
it wouldn't be-
replaces, but like I think she still holds him to like this esteemed importance of a person.
I don't know how old she is in this book, but she very much gives me like child vibes. Mm-hmm. Even being, well, how old was she? How old is she?
She's probably like 19, 20, like they all are.
Yeah. Yeah, she gives me child vibes throughout the whole thing, especially when it involves Vincent. Mm-hmm. Not like adult grieving parent type scenario.
Yeah, no, definitely like little girl desperation feel. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure again, I haven't lost a parent, so I don't know. I mean, maybe you feel that regardless of how old you are. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
You really don't know what you're going to feel until it happens. But yeah, Carissa did a really good job, I feel like, of kind of painting that picture. That being said, I still think it was annoying with Raihn because it was like,
because I just don't think it was about that, though, in the first half of the book. Yes, we had touches of it, but not until it started to be uncovered when she found his items in the tunnels and his secret office. And then as things got uncovered throughout the book, that was fine and that was interesting. But the first half of the book, when it was related to Raihn and Oraya, was...
Right, because she acted as though, you know, everything that she knew about Raihn was a lie. And like that, again, you're grieving and like the human condition is irrational. However, it's like, how could everything about him be a lie? Like, you know that he did that. He had to do it, number one. You brought him back to life. He had to do that. You were smart. You know what the warring bloodlines.
Maybe they just don't take... There's no, like, moments where she's truly dissecting it. She always, even in the book, when it's her point of view, she shuts it down.
Well, she says one thing. Hold on. Let me see. So she's continuously questioning Raihn, emotionally, again, justified because he just killed her father. But it feels excessive because she knows his intention, though. She does. So she's like, everything I knew about him was a lie. Which one is the real him? Blah, 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 blah. So she says, another paradox I can't reconcile is Raihn had murdered my father and taken my kingdom and imprisoned me, but he had done it all to save my life. So, like, she acknowledges that.
Yeah.
She knows that he did it for her and debatably for what he believes is the greater good of, you know, his bloodline's survival.
Yeah.
So it's like, I get that when you're emotionally unstable, it's hard to like think rationally, but that's where it got a little annoying is like, she could obviously tell he's a good person. He keeps proving it over and over again. She just gotta know that he has to act like a jerk in front of his subjects.
Yeah.
She knows how this world works. It does prompt the, you know, the discussion of whether like you can still love someone who shattered you.
Yeah. I just wasn't emotionally involved in it to really...
Like, really think
I
about
can't
that.
dissect it like this, you know. I just, I don't know.
I mean, could you forgive someone that killed your parent?
I want to say no, right? Like, I don't think so. But these books and the love we have for them show that there is like a toxic side. Like, but he's so good. He still loves his humanity, you know. Like,
He loves the sunset, so it's okay.
Like, I also don't live in a world where, yeah, like my father was the one who slaughtered thousands of people,
Children and
slaughtered my mother, like,
and her whole
my
siblings,
and
my stepdad who raised me.
You know, devoured a whole city. Like, that's not a real conversation either. I'm not having that. Like, my father didn't do that.
Right, so it's hard to,
to justify one's actions versus the other one's. I don't know. It's not real.
So despite all of that, you know, not being really a fan of how long it took to get that resolution between the two of them, bringing it back to how much I like Raihn, like human turned vampire, turned slave, turned warrior, turned king, turned lover. Like, he's really has a lot of...
He's complex.
He is. And I feel like he's, again, super solid throughout that. Like, there's nothing annoying about him. He's not pushy. We talked about this. And
no annoying nicknames.
No annoying nicknames. Just the one thing that you said.
It was just in this book, but I think I was just hating. Like, there she is. Like, we get it. There she is.
You
like,
just wanted it to be over.
Are we done yet? Like,
I do
sorry,
love
Carissa.
Mish endorses him. You know, she's like, Raihn has a lot of flaws, Oraya, she said, but he knows how to love. Which reminds me of like Forrest Gump when Jenny's like, you don't know what love is. He's like, I may not be a smart man, but I do know what love is.
That was an excellent, excellent impression.
I actually was with, I know we're not supposed to be talking about real life, but like, I got to share this story. So one person I was with, I said that. I said, you don't even know what love is. And he replied and said that word for word from Forrest Gump. And I started crying.
Really?
I was like, like you bastard.
You got me.
Got me. Fight over. Okay. Whatever. See, and there's why I don't relate to a half of a book of a fight. Because like that just, my ADD is so bad that like I can't stay mad for that long.
Yeah.
Like I'm already on to what's next. I'm like, are we killing each other? If we're not, let's just move on.
Yeah. One word, one action could literally just change like instant. Okay.
Yeah, like, all right, fine. Let's let that go.
Yeah. I love Mish though.
She's so sweet. She reminds me of you.
Her, you know, what she went through in this book. Like she was broken in this book. And like that I felt the pain that she was going through, and then the hiding and not wanting to, you know, have anybody talk about it or address it. She just wanted it to go away. I don't know. I like loved her.
Well, she reminded me of you when, so Oraya finds out who the Shadowborn prince is and like who he was to her, and that he had, you know, turned her, and I'm thinking assaulted her maybe physically and sexually.
Yeah.
It's never really said, but it's implied. And Raihn doesn't know yet. And then he pulls her aside to talk about it. And he mentions that like as warm and bubbly as she is when it comes to like her, it reminded me of you, of her like emotions and her pain. She's very much like, she kept deflecting. She kept walking away. She kept, and I thought of you in that. You may not be like a physical fighter, but like that is also a fighter. You know what I mean? That's a survivor. It's just in a different, it's just not like an extroverted way of like dealing with it.
Maybe. Yeah, in my survival mode.
Yeah, I mean, you have to get there.
Defense mechanisms. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, you have to get there in some way. I appreciated Rain's point of view, like hearing like what he was thinking. He says at one point that maybe a small pathetic part of me had also been grateful that have any excuse to have her as an ally again, even a reluctant one, like after everything happened, and like she felt compelled to be his ally because of the politics of everything, but he's still like happy about it. And you just see that, like, I don't know, he just seems like a really selfless person. Vampire. He doesn't seem like a vampire, to be honest with you. He really doesn't. So we had like read a review on Goodreads today while we were prepping. What did it say? Oraya gets her kingdom stolen. It was like, what did it say?
Araya's father's murdered. Her throne is taken from her. She's forced into a marriage. She, like, I forget.
Held against her will, locked in her room.
Oh yeah, locked away like a prisoner. And what was the?
And then she doesn't ever go for revenge or whatever.
Oh yeah. Yeah, kind of what I thought. Yeah, why weren't you more mad? Or, you know what I mean? Why weren't you more angry if you're that? I know you're grieving. We just dissected that. But if you were that feisty, you know, you're the serpent in the first book, you're not going after revenge, you know? And then they touch about her, like, half-assed attempt to, like, get Jasmine to bring the troops to the armory.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, but even in moments of facing Raihn, she still couldn't bring herself to. She was like never gonna kill him. She like always knew she loved him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she did. And then so it's like either be one or the other. Yeah. Like either want to kill him or just own it already.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, whatever. Yeah. But I just thought, you know, she is ironically, I still think she's like a warrior at her core. Like she kind of reminded me, she's super violent. The vigilante thing again, like going in there and like feeling like it's a fix. She says, he thought right. As much as I hated to admit it, I craved death like an opiate addict craved their fix. I get your point, and the review's point, because it's like that's who she is, but then she doesn't really seek that in the same intensity when it comes to something as big as what's going on.
Yeah. It's like she
But she loves
over.
him, that's why.
Yeah, just in so many other capacities, like why she wasn't trying to kill the other people in the castle. Maybe, I don't know, just some sort of.
Well, she gets there eventually at the very end. but it takes her a long time. She got to go through a lot of things to get there, which is like a little annoying, but whatever. She gets there eventually. Some of the fun parts of this was like the scene where she conjures her wings for the first time and he pushes her out the window or off the cliff.
Great. That was great.
I dream about flying a lot. So when Feyre gets her wings, when she can get her wings, I'm like, yeah, that's awesome.
They're in there somewhere.
Yeah, that's like one of my favorite aspects of fantasy books is like that ability to fly. What would your like superpower be?
I'd have to think about it.
Out of like this typical fantasy world stuff.
It might be flying.
Yeah.
It could be. Yeah.
What about mind reading?
No.
You wouldn't want that, would you?
I don't want to know.
I definitely want to know.
You definitely would want to know.
I definitely do. But I don't know if I want to fly more.
I have a better answer, but it's not coming to my brain. Obviously, I wish I had magical powers, like could create magic.
I mean, I wish I had all of them, actually. That's the real answer. Like, I dream a genie. What's your wish? I wish I could have more wishes. I'm a little confused. I actually am going to, at risk of sounding ignorant, I know there's 2 other books that are related to this. I don't know if it's like a continuation of the series or like a sister series. I mean, we know we get resolution. They have the Cordius bond, whatever. Coriolis bond. She gets the god blood. She does the right thing with it and gives it to Naxia. She connects with her mother. She reaches out to her mom's god. You know, she gets there's a lot of resolution that happens at the end. But I do think it's teed up to like keep going.
Oh, you think so?
I do, because it's like,
well, there's 2 other books.
Yeah.
Do you think they're separate? Because I did see it labeled as book 3 and book 4.
You did. See, I saw it labeled as book 1 of 2 and book 1 of 2. So maybe that was incorrect. It was in a bookstore that I saw that. So it could have just been I didn't really research it, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But I don't want to.
You don't want to read it. Yeah. I get that. But they're going to rip apart the worlds that subjugated both of us. And from ashes, we'll build something new. It was overall good. I feel like we were a little all over the place with the discussion of these 2 books because you didn't really love it. I didn't absolutely love it either. And I feel like I was reading 2 different stories. I was reading like an interesting twist on vampires, and then I was reading a love story. Like, I don't know that it really was cohesive.
Discussions end up being more, we like the psychological aspect and making it real and comparing ourselves to the characters. It just like takes on a different role than a book review discussion. So to not
feel emotionally,
for my reaction to be like, it's fine and I didn't finish it, like, what am I supposed to talk about? You know, like, yeah, I could talk about the characters, like there's things I loved, but it didn't have the same, I had no ammo basically to really bring to the table.
Yeah.
It just didn't hit the way it's gonna make it's just interesting to talk about this on the camera, but it's gonna make other books that are like DNFs, like how do we talk about them? Like if that's the part that gets me stuck, you know, like I still want to find a way to talk about them, I guess, because let's figure out why I didn't like it or whatever. But
yeah, I mean, I guess if we both, I think if we both DNF, it's different, right? Because then it's like, what even happened?
Yeah.
I almost didn't, honestly. I'm glad I finished because, like I said, there's a lot of resolution to the story and it did tie up nicely at the end and not rushed, not like some books where it's like, this is done, we're good, everyone's happy. It wasn't really like that. It made, again, there was a lot of natural progression. There was a lot of good, like, insights to, like, human nature and that stuff. But, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just a little slow, maybe. I don't know what it was. Just something. Maybe like overhyped too, because I did get the recommendation from a friend of mine who reads a lot, and she like really liked it.
It was everywhere. It was another like.
Right. Well, the ratings.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm not sure, but I like Raihn. So,
as always, good male character. That's why we're here.
All right, guys. Well, that's about it for this one. If you have any other things to add or something we're missing, please let us know because, you know.
Yeah.
I'm always interested in having a discussion. We could keep talking about it.
Yeah, I want to pull apart things that maybe I didn't realize or see or notice.
Or let us know if you read the next 2 books and if it's actually worth it. Because as of right now, it's not on the immediate TBR. It's not on hers at all. I don't know. But like if someone convinces me otherwise, then I don't know.
Then maybe you'll do it.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's the completion of all 4 that make it great.
Maybe.
I'm not sure. But anyway, thank you guys. One day we will get better at being on time and on schedule. We do have the intention of releasing a new episode every Wednesday. We have missed 2 since we started, but I think we're doing all right. So just keep
Thanks for listening.
subscribe, like, comment, reach out to us.